Fingers crossed, Insta. Fingers crossed. We're going to try again. So Harry has removed himself from Debo's birdcage and has gone, bless him, run up the road to his apartment, and he's going to try and connect there. And hi Simon, sorry about this, Simon, this evening. It just shows, doesn't it? Hi Jojo. We're trying again, just to give you guys an update, like everything crossed, guys. We're trying to go again. Simon, I'm trying to wave at you actually, but it's not working, so there you go, double wave for you, mate. We're hoping that Talaya's going to join. Just spoke to Talaya, she's going to try and join now. And then hiya mate, and then Harry should be jumping on as well, so fingers crossed. We're just waiting for Talaya to jump on. It's interesting, isn't it? Like, you know, you're just trying to share a bit of positive energy and positive stories, and it's just funny how these things seem to interrupt at points like this. And I'll tell you something else quite interesting, guys. So my video yesterday that I made, hi Madara, we're trying again, Madara, just to give you an update as well. Harry's run to his apartment. There's Harry. Right, Hazza, let's wait for Talaya to join before you, mate. Let's just try that first. Let's just see if we can get her on first. But yeah, I was saying Madara Hazza's there now at his apartment. Well done, Harry, by the way. I know you've... well done, mate. Yeah, so fingers crossed we'll get Talaya on. Harry, if you can message Talaya, or can't you do that because it's on Insta? Yeah, but I was just saying, it's funny how... oh yeah, Yesley's video. So Yesley's video... let's send you a voice message. Okay, right, bear with me, guys. Let's just see. Fingers crossed. Hey, yesterday's video, Insta wouldn't let me promote it, because I thought that one was worth promoting. Nothing to do with me, but the message, the story. And it's interesting. They all day I've been trying to promote that, happily to pay for it, to get as many people to see that as possible, and they wouldn't let me. Interesting that, no? I've sent her a link. Wicked. Nice one, Hazza. Did I just say wicked? What a negative word. Amazing. Sorry. Nice one, Hazza. But yeah, genuinely, I know I've said it before, on behalf of me and Harry, it's so nice having, there you go, right, fingers crossed, having some regular people that we can share all of this with. Let's see if we can get you on, Talaya. Alright, here we go. You should have a pop-up now. Uh-oh,
Hello.
things are happening.
Hello.
Let's see, that's better so far, slightly better. Your audio's good. Your audio's good. Right, let's see if I can get Harry on as well then. And fingers crossed. Did you like my Debo birdcage reference, Talaya?
I did. I cracked up. I cracked up. I'm like, oh, he's a Friday guy too.
Oh yeah, that was big in the UK. We grew up on that stuff, and I was just picturing Harry like Chris Tucker in Debo's birdcage. But anyway,
goodness.
Harry, are you there?
Yeah.
Right, fantastic. So let's give this a go. We'll go quiet and hand back to Talaya. Where you'd got to, actually, Talaya, I'll let you continue. I'm sure you don't need me. Do you need me to remind you, or are you happy to go?
No,
A lot's happened.
A lot has happened. But
you can just quickly.
I'm sorry.
Perfect.
Harry, you went then, Harry.
So if you can summarize quickly, just because this is a new video on Instagram, because we've got stop.
All right, we're going to get to the end of this thing eventually. So, so to recap, for the folks who were not with us before, my name is Talaya Dindi. I am a 10-year cancer thriver, and I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma in 2011. In our prior lives, I was sharing my experience about how I actually found out that I had Hodgkin's lymphoma. And so quickly, what I'll do is just do a quick recap. So I had never had health issues before. Other than the flu, that was it. So besides my annual exams, I really was not your average healthcare or very savvy healthcare consumer. So I had went to my primary care doctor for my annual physical, sorry, in 2010. And I had pointed out to her that there was a small lump that had been on the side of my neck, and it had been there for about 2 weeks or so, and I was concerned. So she asked me if I had been sick, if I had the flu or anything like that. And I said, no, I haven't. I've been, feeling pretty good other than feeling a little tired. But with all the hours that I was working, I thought that was normal. So pointed out to her the lump on my neck. She didn't touch it. She really didn't look at it. She just kind of blew it off. And I had shared with her, because this is part of the exam, making sure you're working out, eating right, all of those things. So I shared with her, that I had been working out about 4 times a week and I had started doing some training, that kind of thing. She said, oh, well, I wouldn't worry about it. It's probably just a pulled muscle. Okay, so fast forward a year later, I still have this lump and it's bigger and it's harder. So I really didn't feel comfortable with the way that she blew me off. Now, I do want to share this with you. I take some credit, I should say, or some responsibility is the word I'm looking for in this whole waiting a year. And I'll circle back to that in a second. And so, just because of the interaction that I had with her, when it was time for my next annual exam, I said, I'm going to find a different doctor. It just didn't feel right. Got a new doctor, had my physical exam, and I said, hey, there's this lump on the side of my neck. I'm very concerned about it. She touched it. She looked at it. She asked me some questions, had I been sick, that kind of thing. I said, no. She asked me how I had been feeling. I said, really just tired. So I could tell by the look on her face at the end of our conversation that she was concerned. She said, well, what I want you to do is, as soon as you can, go in and have an ultrasound done. A few days later, I went in for an ultrasound, and I could tell by the technician's face something wasn't right. But again, she's not able to tell me. So she said, a few days, I got a call saying, hey, we want you to come in and do a fine needle aspiration. And so that is where they take a small piece of tissue and some cells and test that. So they did that. It came back inconclusive because they didn't have a large enough sample size. So, Talaya, we need you to come in and do a full biopsy. Okay, go in and do a full biopsy. They take a larger piece of that lymph node. That biopsy is what started the whole thing. That is what was able to conclude that I had Hodgkin's lymphoma. I got a call from a nurse on a Friday on my way home from work. She said, I'm sorry to tell you this, but your test, your biopsy has concluded that you have Hodgkin's lymphoma. So, of course, I have a ton of questions. And she said, I'm so sorry. I know that you're upset. You're wondering what's going on. I can't answer those questions. However, I can assure you that you're going to be fine. And she said, I know because my husband was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma a few years ago, and he's doing just fine today. That helped a little bit, but not much. So, in my effort to try and process what I had heard and to calm my nerves, I pulled over and went into TJ Maxx. It just happened to be on the way. So I walked around TJ Maxx for about 30 minutes, just trying to grasp and digest what I had heard. Because honestly, I was knocked off my feet. I was not expecting to hear that I had cancer. And so all of the negative images, all the negative things that we hear and we see about cancer were just flying through my mind, really. You guys, are you still there?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, perfect. You kind of buffered. Okay, perfect. And so I'm just finally, after about 30 minutes of walking around TJ Maxx, I leave, get in my car, go home, and I call my family. and I shared with them the news that I had just received. Of course, they have tons of questions that I can't answer, but I didn't know what I was doing at the time, but I had asked them, I said, I just need some time to myself this weekend. Give me these couple of days to digest and process what I've heard. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't have any answers for you. I just need to figure out a plan, work through this. Thankfully, they were respectful of my wishes. And that weekend, I spent the whole weekend just going through my emotions. I was crying, I was angry, I was afraid, I prayed, I did all these things. At the time, I didn't know what I was doing. I did what I felt I needed to do. And that was, as Harry and James pointed out in our prior conversation, they said, Talaya, what you were doing were you were protecting your energy. I had no idea at that time. I asked for God to show me what to do. And that's what I felt. That's the message I got. Hey, take this time for yourself. Thankfully, I did, because that Monday I was able to take charge, get on the phone, make the calls I needed to make, get appointments scheduled, and get the ball rolling. Looking back, had I not allowed myself that time, I don't think things would have went as smoothly as they did.
Talaya, if you can hear me, you're gonna have to hold up for a second because you buffered again. Talaya?
It's weird how it does this as well, because it never.
It's interesting because Talaya actually said to me, we had a chat on Insta, what's a voice message, and she said she'd just seen a friend's live and it was doing exactly the same as well. Don't know if it's something to do with the platform, but at the moment, Talaya, if you can hear me, so basically on our end, me and Harry are perfectly fine now, and it's on our end, it's just your screen that's frozen, and we just got the what we call the wheel of death just spinning around.
Was it better when it was a 2, James?
Harry, do you mind dropping for a sec, Haz, just to see? Right, bear with us. Sorry, Talaya. Harry's just going to drop out. We're going to try it as 2. Thanks, Fatima. Yeah, it does seem to be on Talaya's end, but obviously we don't know. You still there, Talaya?
I'm still here, and I see you, but there's a circle.
Right. Okay. It seems to be Harry's dropped for the moment. Okay. Can you hear me okay at the moment?
I can hear you okay.
Right. Your audio's really good currently. Your audio's really good. So,
Okay.
sorry. Can you take it back? Sorry. Just take it back a notch again.
Okay. Sure.
So you'd walked around TJ Maxx. You'd gone home. You'd gone through that process of the understandable emotions. You then got that message, as you said. You spoke with God. You had the clear message again, which is irrefutable because this is your experience, people, as well. We have to understand these things. This isn't book smart stuff this is someone's experience we're talking about now. You had the message to tell you that actually, although you downloaded on the family, something that obviously has rocked their world. So regardless of the brave step you took next, you still would have been aware of the fact that they're going to be holding on to that, that load that, as you called it perfectly, that you've just, you've dropped on them, which you had to do. Obviously, this is the thing with this situation. You did everything. Was so interesting. You after working with people for 8 years, like I said, it's just incredible. That message you got from God, literally from what we've experienced. I wish, obviously it's all in hindsight now, but if everybody had had that message from the off, the importance, because what Talaya did, people, was she protected her energy. She actually pulled away, not pulled away is the wrong word. she took time. Your words were perfect. You took time for yourself to conserve your energy and protect your energy. So can you carry on from there, please? Sorry.
Absolutely. Can you hear me before I get started?
Perfect. Right now, this is
Okay.
perfect. So let's fingers crossed.
Okay. All right. And so that Monday, I got on the phone, I made calls, I got all my appointments scheduled to get staging done to determine what, level of cancer I had. I got in touch with my oncologist. That worked out really well. We decided right away from the beginning that we would have a partnership. And that was the first thing that I shared with him. I was very honest. I said, I don't know much about cancer other than the negative things that I see on TV. However, I'm going to have to go off on my own and do my research with the information that you share with me.
With a
This
notepad
is
and a pen, bearing in mind, you
with
turned
a
up
notepad.
with a notepad and a pen, and the oncologist actually said this is the first time ever anybody has turned up for this to take notes. So sorry. Anyway, yeah.
It's okay. That's okay. And I should share this that that's just natural for me because of the type of person that I am. I joke and I say, I'm that nerdy friend that you're always gonna see with a book and a notepad. So for me, that was natural. And he was just like, "Wow, I've never seen this before." And he said, "You're serious?" And I said, "Yeah, this is my life. I'm serious." And I shared with him, I said, what this past year has taught me was that I have to show up for myself. When I'm not getting the answers that I want, I keep going forward, but I don't stop. I don't pause. I don't let that be an indication that what I'm feeling, what's going on with me, is not real. It's just that that person is not in alignment with me or what my healthcare needs are. And so going forward, once I got that diagnosis, it was like a switch flipped and said, "Hey, you are the expert on you. Someone may try to blow you off again. Do not stand for it. Move on to the next person. Don't wait a year." So that's something I definitely want to get out into the world because my internet might go crazy again. So that's one thing I just wanted you all to know is that I take responsibility in waiting for a year. However, going forward, that will never happen to me again. And I made sure I set the tone with my oncologist because he was the person who was going to help me work through this. He was at the forefront right with me. So I told him I would not be taking a back seat in my health care, that we would have to have discussions. So he basically looked up the statistics and said, this is the type of treatment, the length of treatment that someone your age with this stage of cancer, this is what normally helps them. And so it was recommended that I do 6 months of chemotherapy and then a month of radiation. And so I said, okay, I understand that. What if that doesn't work? Because I wanted to know. I needed to get my mental together for what might be ahead. So for me, having an idea of what could happen, different scenarios helped me. And he said, well, if that doesn't work, but I'm 99.9% confident that it will, if that doesn't work, we'll have to do a bone marrow transplant. Well, that was all I needed to hear. I said, you know what? Whatever it takes with this chemo and this radiation and this, it has to get done. I don't want to go that route. And so it just kind of set the tone. And so I started working and learning more about mind body connection. And I said, you know what, Talaya, you're using up a lot of fumes. You need something to help you stay on this path. Figure out what it is. And so I started researching mind body connection and just was in awe about the different stories that I had learned about of people who really healed their bodies in a sense with their mind, the way that they think. And so what I had done was I created, which I still read today, put together a little flip book of healing scriptures from the Bible. I read those every day. I had positive affirmations all over the place. Whenever I didn't feel good, you know, in here, I talked about it. I prayed about it. I didn't just try to hold it in. I didn't try to pretend like, oh, today's a great day. I'm being positive, even though I don't feel that way. Whatever I was feeling, I just conquered it head on because I said, I'm only doing damage to myself. And you know what? Part of the reason I might be here today with this diagnosis is because I've pushed too much down. I've pushed too much trauma and pain down. And now it's coming to the surface. Now more than ever, it's time for me to deal with all these different things because that is a part of my health. And we don't talk about those things. You know, society says, okay, this happened to you, put a band aid on it and keep going. That's just life. It's a part of life, but I owe it to myself. You owe it to yourself to really work through those things that have caused you so much pain. Because if you don't, they're inside of you, eating away at you. And we don't really know, we don't really think about it because we've pushed it so far down, but it's there. It's there and it affects your body, it affects your immune system, it affects your health in every way. So all of these things that I'm sharing, they are part of my journey. They're things that I've learned. And I truly believe that had I not gotten diagnosed, I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't have been able to heal from things that happened in the past and all these negative thoughts that I was carrying around. Because what I will share with you guys, looking back, is that the fact that I knew something was wrong. And number one, I didn't do anything for a year. Number two, I just took this doctor's word, I guess, at face value. It taught me a lot about my own self worth. I didn't have much. And so it took cancer for me to get to a point where I said, you know what? My life matters. I matter. What the hell was I thinking? To walk around for a year knowing something was wrong. Yeah, I could say, I was trying to, be there for my family. They were going through things. I just started a new job. I could use that as an excuse. But really, that's all it is an excuse to not face all the things that I had been running from. And I share this with people because it's not just about a diagnosis of cancer. It's about all the things that we run from in life that are doing us harm. And they're going to keep doing us harm until we turn around and look them in the face. And that was something that I had to do. Now, again, you guys, because I don't want to come off like I have all the answers. I don't. This is something that till 2021 can look back and share with you, um, and say, this is what I see now. I didn't see that then. That was part of this 10-year journey. But I knew from the research that I had done on mind body connection, hey, this is much deeper. I don't know what caused the cancer, but I have a feeling that it started with the pain I had been carrying around. But like I said, you just go on with your life. And so I got through the 6 months of chemotherapy. I got through the radiation. And let me just take a step back. I started them in May of 2011. And I would say by December of 2011, I had finished all my treatment. I was told that my hair was going to fall out. I was going to have to shave my head. And I prayed that, I wouldn't have major side effects and things like that. I didn't throw up one time. My hair didn't start coming out until about the 5th month of my radiation. And at that point, I didn't have to shave my head. I just had to cut it down. Um, After the treatment, a few years later, I was left with hypothyroidism and asthma. Never had any problems like that before. I'm sharing this because these are things that you have to make sure you know about that can happen to you when you decide on a treatment option. And so when I had that discussion with my oncologist about my treatment options, this was the best, these were the best options for me because of my age and because of the statistics. And then also, he said, Talaya, you're still young. You're still young. That's why I'm suggesting this to you. Now, if you were like 70, 80, I would just say, you know what, just go and enjoy your life. Just prepare, for things to get worse. But he said, no, you have your whole life ahead of you. So hearing that and hearing that also, if that didn't work, I would have to have a bone marrow transplant. Those two things gave me all the motivation I needed because someone else outside of me saw that I had so much more life, so much more to do. And so that's when I just really got on board. And my family was great. My mom was great. She was there with me the whole time. She would come with me to most of my chemotherapy sessions, and she would come and stay with me for a few days after to make sure I was okay. So just having my mom as support, having friends for support, most importantly, valuing myself and stepping out and saying, hey, this is what I want. This is how this has to work. This is the kind of relationship we have to have. Yes, I'm going to ask questions. No, I'm not going to do everything you say without understanding. Those are the things I believe that saved my life and working through those past hurts.
Can I ask a quick question here, Talaya? Because honestly, I'll have to send you the video we did yesterday to understand and for those that are watching, who was watching yesterday, how about a perfect antidote to yesterday's video, guys? Listen to what this lady's saying. Now, I want to ask about the fact that you just said something that I've come to, for me, it's a knowing now. You had to understand what you were being labeled with for you to fix that label. Is that basically what you're saying? It had to be digestible for you what you was being thrown at, because of course she wasn't a cancer expert, and you were just given all this information, not statistics. Yeah, synchronicity, Harry. This is incredible. It's absolutely incredible. But on that point, when you said about having to understand it, can you elaborate on that a bit more? Because I think that's so powerful.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. One thing that I do when I work with people is helping them to understand the biology of cancer and how it works. And these are things that they're really not going to tell you in hospitals and clinics and things like that. But cancer is one of those things that kind of eats away at you. And usually it's from some type of negative emotion that we are carrying around. And so really understanding what I have been doing to myself as far as not having the self-worth, taking on all these different things, other people's problems, all of these things, when you're an empath, and we started talking about this more recently, years ago, I've always been an empath. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what that entailed. I didn't know how much you can take on, and just learning about that and knowing that that's a part of me and how to manage that. So there's all these different.
Talaya, sorry. Talaya, just to interrupt because the sound's gone really bad again. Let's just give it a second. I just want to recap just in case people haven't heard what Talaya just emphasized. She said being an empath, being someone that takes on someone else's problems, played a real part in the sickness manifesting. Talaya, I think you've come back now, which is great. But I wanted to emphasize that because what you said about taking on, I'd like to sort of not flip it, but what you take on was the fact that you was giving away so much of your energy to others, rather,
Absolutely.
and and from their negative standpoint, which wasn't yours to take on by you giving them that energy and allowing it to infect. Because I genuinely believe that's how it works. Energy is like they say, good energy is infectious. Was unfortunately so is bad energy as well. Sorry, Talaya. I think your sound's back now as well.
Okay, how's it now?
Perfect. And I can see a lovely face
Perfect.
finally.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, being an empath, they don't teach us these things because, they just say go out there and just make the best of it. Being an empath, I had to learn that you're not supposed to take on everybody's stuff. You're not supposed to take on everybody's energy. And I was that person who would not say no, who everybody came to when something was going wrong. So all this stress, all their energy, plus whatever I was dealing with, that's a heavy load. So I learned to say no and not feel guilty about it. I learned to set concrete boundaries. And you guys, today, I'm so protective of my peace that if something feels right doesn't feel right one time, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, this is done. And I don't feel like I have to explain that because that is a part of my energy, my health. I have to protect it. I can't take everybody's stuff on. And that is another thing that I feel contributed to my sickness. Taking on things at work, trying to climb what society calls the corporate ladder, doing all these things that I felt I was working against. I wasn't really in my purpose. Again, I'm not celebrating cancer, but had it not happened, who knows? I might be still in corporate America to push my way through that ceiling or open that door that they weren't going to let me in no matter what. And so just finding the meaning of me being here was part of that process too. And so there's just so many things that we're not taught about truly living. And unfortunately, you have to go through so many, sometimes tough things to figure that out for yourself, And I always say cancer showed up in my life at a time when it couldn't have been, you know, it was the worst time. Like I said, I had just started a new job. So clearly they didn't want to have to deal with me and my problems now because I was a liability to them, no longer an asset. So there was that part of it. And I let it all go. I said, my health, my life is more important than anything. And there'll be another job. There won't be another me, And I don't say that arrogantly, but it's true. And so those are a couple of reasons why I'm sitting here today talking with you guys, just to let people know that you have value, you matter. If you're not getting the answers and the results from one doctor, go see another doctor. There's tons of them out there. But don't think that there's something wrong with you because they're not taking the time. And I hate to say some people don't care. So you gotta care for yourself. And then not be
Talaya,
selfish.
sorry. Talaya, if you can hear me, I'm going to pull you back again just because you've gone completely. So what Talaya was just saying, which again, Harry, can you see and the people that shared yesterday's video that are on here, can you see the synchronicities in what Talaya is saying versus what we were speaking about yesterday? It's just incredible. It really is your story. The fact that you're talking about things that you don't have to be book smart to know these things about yourself, people, self-worth, how incredible you are, how incredible your body is, how important your mind is when it comes to appreciating your soul, your being, your who. Harry's just said to Leia, it's like you watched the video yesterday. It
I
really is.
did.
It's just
I
incredible.
did.
And for the record, Talaya, I hope you don't mind, but I'd still like, we'll get through this, but because
Mhm.
I want people to see you as well, and you've been
Mhm.
blurry most of the time. So do you mind
Oh,
just to let, so that people know that are watching now, we will do a Zoom whenever's convenient for you. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to want you to do this all again, but on Zoom, so that people can
I would
actually see
love
you
to.
as well, and actually and feel your energy, because that's what me and Harry got. It was this part of the story when you was telling me, and Harry was like, oh, like this woman's incredible. Like, was like, we're not worthy. It's just, but it's so important. It's so important for people to understand the importance of what you've just said. And you're saying it from experience. This is
Mhm.
irrefutable, people. This isn't a theory. This isn't a one-off, because this is what people do. They'll hear your story, and because of cognitive dissonance, they'll somehow make it, oh, that's just a one-off. That couldn't happen to me. No, Talaya is incredible. Absolutely something I've just adore and admire, but so is everybody. We've
Mm.
all got
Yes.
these inbuilt. And anyway, your sound's back, so let me give you the mic back. Sorry, it's just it went completely for a minute, so I just
Oh,
wanted you to get your back now. Anyway, sorry.
okay. Absolutely. I'd love to do this on Zoom. And thank you so much for all the kind things that you've said. I truly appreciate it. And yes, we all are incredible. It's just getting that noise out of your head that so many people have said to you. That stuff isn't real. They're messed up too. So who are they to tell you that you're not incredible, you know? And it's self-work, self-worth and self-work. You have to do the work. I didn't wake up like this 10 years ago. This is progression. This is something that I've been working on since I became in tune and aware of where my blind spots were, you know, and why do I keep reliving these things? And why do these same scenarios keep happening? Somewhere I'm involved in this. Let me figure out what my part is in this. And my part was not putting up those boundaries for fear of being rejected and not having the level of self-worth that I am supposed to have. And in order to make it in this world, I truly believe you have to be in tune with your heart, your soul, and you get all those together with your mind, and you're unstoppable. But like I said, throughout life, we're told so many things, and there's so much negativity in the world, so much noise. You have to be able to look beyond that and say, hey, I'm good enough just the way that I am. I'm good enough for me. That's
You
enough. And get,
100%. I just got to observe, because twice you've said it as well about the noise, because and Harry actually put in the comment, the ego. It's all egotistical, isn't it?
yes, yes, I would say that, yes. And two, it's unfortunately, it's from our ancestors sometimes too. We're taking on a lot of stuff that they had to deal with, but nobody talks about these things. Some people don't believe in it, but I can go back right now today and talk to someone that may have known a great great grandmother, and they'll say, you know, she struggled with this or she dealt with that, and it will make sense in relation to something that I've experienced. So it's a spiritual thing too. And for those that, you know, are not really in touch with that, I encourage you to explore that more, because there might be some answers there for you and direction as well. So don't be afraid. But you got to start here in your heart, in your soul. Start there. And that's going to open up so many doors. You're going to have more clarity. You're going to be more confident in who you are and what you're supposed to bring to this world. Because we're all here to bring something valuable. We're not here to hurt each other, kill each other, and do all these negative things. Unfortunately, those are people that have not, they've kind of lost their way. I'll just put it that way. And it doesn't mean that they can't be found and recentered. It just takes work.
Wow. And something you just said about the spiritual, and then you immediately addressed the naysayers. But the thing is, you're living proof. That's the thing. And this is the experience. And you are, as Fatima as well pointed out, experience tops everything. Everything you say is backed up by you being here, being able to say it. And that's spiritual, that's soulful. That is nothing to do with anything else other than your inner being, that inner inherent wanting to live, wanting to know, okay, I'm not just going to accept this label, egotistically go into that self-persecuting mode of, oh, they know more than me. You turned up with a notebook, like, right, what is it? That's from the soul, what is it that I have to do? And yeah, and what you said there, self-work, self-worth. If you haven't patented that, you need to patent that, because I'm going to get that on a t-shirt and a hat. It's brilliant, absolutely phenomenal. But wow. Sorry, I don't want to cut. Is there any more to this story?
Um, I will add the part about getting the courage to leave corporate America, because this is also a big thing for people as well. Um, you know, I went to college, got that degree, got that corporate America job that pays so well. And guys, I was miserable, miserable. Capital letters. I was just like, oh my God, I don't want to die here. And seriously, it felt like it was eating away at my soul every day. But I was making money, I was comfortable. I'm like, okay, well, at least I can pay my bills, I can travel, blah, blah, blah. The diagnosis brought me back here too. Okay, Talaya, don't keep dealing with it. This is cancer talking now. Don't keep dealing with this crap. You know you're not happy. This is not where you're supposed to be. I know you need to make a living. At some point, you're going to have to make a decision because, again, this is a part of your healing. And so I stayed in corporate America, however, with a plan. I stayed in corporate America and I exited in 2018. I haven't looked back since. Saved. Like I said, I had a financial plan where I saved some money. And don't get me wrong, there have been some tough times, but I just said, God, this is what you revealed to me. I'm supposed to be doing. I know you got me. So, and it has never came to the point where I couldn't pay a bill. I didn't have food, basic necessities. It never got to that point because why? I'm walking in my purpose. I'm walking in my purpose. I listened to God when he said, what this is not where I want you to be. Wake up. I put this thing called cancer right in front of your face. I need you to wake up. Take action. I got you. And so I'm not going to lie, guys. It was the scariest thing going from making almost 80,000. I'm not bragging. I just want you to feel where I'm coming from. Making that kind of salary to saying, you know what? My purpose is to help people in this world. I knew that always. I've always been a helper. I didn't know in what capacity. And the way that my doctor reflected onto me what he saw, he said, Talaya, I've never seen this before. I said, aha, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be helping people through this tough time where they're vulnerable as heck. They don't know which way to turn. They are fearful. They're getting all these noises coming from their family about what they should do, what they shouldn't do, and getting to the root. What other areas of me, since I'm on this healing path, other areas of me need to be healed? Let's do this all at once. So when we get through this treatment, we get on the other side of this cancer, we're complete. We're ready to go. We're ready to go in this new direction. We're ready to, have this new life that, you know what, from this bad experience, we were able to create. And that's what it's about. Taking the time to completely heal yourself. And it's a process.
That second time round, because obviously I've heard most of this before, was even more incredible. Thank you so much for sharing. Something you said towards the end there that, Harry, this will resonate with you. So you said that message that you got clearly from God when you said, you know, wake up. I put that cancer there for you to deal with, to fix yourself. There was another, and this is the beauty of the human soul, because there was there was a gentleman me and Harry was working with, a young gentleman in his mid-30s, and I never forget, he said to me and Harry, he said, "Do you know what? I'm living my best life since I've had cancer." And that hit me and Harry in the face, like, and he said, "I've never been so healthy since I had cancer." And after you saying what you just said, I think the message is clear, people. After listening to what Talaya said, don't leave it to get to that stage. You've got people like Talaya here sharing this message, again, showing this is a wake-up call for me. This smashes me in the face, even though I've already heard this story with James. You've got to do more for yourself, and that is not self-indulgent either. It's the serving of your soul, your inner child. And again, something else you said about, and this is something me and Harry have come to learn. True healing is multifaceted. Why? Because we're multifaceted beings that play so many roles, so many versions of ourselves, give away so much energy. You are literally living proof. You're the biggest validation me and Harry could ever have to know that we're on the right path with trying to share your message, because it's you're the proof in our pudding, to be completely honest. And honestly, I can't thank you enough for sharing what you have tonight. It's been absolute, and honestly, I don't know if you can see the comments, but you are just getting so much love from people right now, and rightly so. Can I ask, there's a few questions that I've got. Is that cool? Yeah?
Absolutely. Yes, that's great.
And by the way, people, if there is anybody that wants to ask Talaya a question, please type it in. I'll ask, but I just want to quickly, what is a cancer doula?
Okay, so what I'm going to do is start off by explaining the definition of a doula first. So a doula is someone who helps another person through a major life change and significant health-related experience. So as many of you may know, there is a birth doula. They focus on the beginning of life and helping to bring life into this world. There's a death doula who helps people transition at the end of their life. And I am a cancer doula. So as a cancer doula, I focus on the present, helping the people that I work with get over that thing that's in front of them called cancer. So we're focused on the present. What do you need to do right now to heal yourself so that you can go on, you can live this quality of life that you are going to be creating in this process? And so as a cancer doula, I say I focus on the present, because you have the birth doula who's focused on the beginning and the death doula who's at the end. We're here right now. What are you going to do? And so that's what I consider a cancer doula.
That's incredible. And I think, especially now you've defined what that is, you've sort of answered the next question, but even still, I'm going to pop it, because from my experience over the last 8 years, and Harry will share this, not everybody after getting a great result would then choose to take on that path of then doing what, why did you then, what made you think, okay, I'm going to become this? Because you could have, in fairness, gone, right, I've had my result, I'm off to the Bahamas, I'm off to the Caribbean, and just thought, right, I'm just going to now live my life. To then put yourself into a position, which, let's face it, and that's really, what really resonates with me is, and I'm sure you can appreciate this, is as much as when you're trying to help people with these situations, you do try to detach. You will always have their moments where you feel that energy from them, and it is sapping at times, and it does make you cry at times, and it does really, I'm talking from experience. I don't assume that's for you, but that's how I felt. Anyway, so why did you, knowing that there's this extra baggage that comes with that? Yes, there's great satisfaction, but it does come at a price.
It does come at a price. And now that I'm in tune with the empathetic side of myself, I have strategies in place where I take care of myself as well. So, and you said, you mentioned this, James, this is a part of my life. So it's a natural progression in my life from what I came from. So it is a part of my life. And I decided to do this because not everyone is going to, or even wants to, take the time to read about these things, learn about these things. Um, they're not going to know where to start. They may not even acknowledge that they need to do the work. And sometimes it just helps to have someone who's looking you in the face saying, hey, I'm not telling you what to do, but this might help you. Sometimes we just need to give people a starting point because they've been doing this.
Mm.
Sometimes you just need someone to, kind of take a hold of you and say, hey, stop for a moment.
Breathe,
I'm here
take
to
a
kind of,
breath.
yeah, exactly. Stop spinning because you're dizzy right now. And, let's talk about this. Let me help you get started. And then you can figure out from there what you really want to do. And so, if I was struggling with the things I was struggling with, I said, I'm not the only person. The difference is everybody may not have whatever God put inside of me to handle it the way that I did. So maybe I'm that person to help them, you know? And so that's why I'm doing what I do because I don't want people to have this huge learning curve. I want people to be able to get in there, get the care that they need from their healthcare team, as well as themselves, as well as their loved ones. And then, hey, let's get to this thing called life. And you know what? I get to decide what I want that to look like. So all of that is a part of this. And so many people commit suicide and things like that because they don't have hope. This is what that is about as well. Showing people that, hey, 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with this thing, that could have went either way. It could have taken my life and I could not be here, but I'm here. So, what am I supposed to do with this? I'm supposed to help other people. And I don't have all the answers. I'm not perfect, but I just know what got me to where I'm at today, and I'm happy to help other people do the same. So that's why I do what I do because cancer doesn't have to end like a bad story or a horrible nightmare. It doesn't have to be that way all the time. So, and another thing, it's really to that really drives me nuts is the stigmas, the negativity surrounding cancer to the point where they don't even want to talk about it. They're ashamed to tell people I got this cancer diagnosis. That's a huge part of it as well.
That's an incredible answer. And before I move on to your next question, Fatima made a point. Thank you, Fatima, while you was talking about that. And she said, seeing yourself in others so you have no choice but to help them. I think that's obviously prevalent with you. Your blinkers were off and all you could see, or it seems clearly, all you could see was your purpose, which was, that's another soul. That's me. That was my soul. I'd say in regards to you said you made a comment like I don't know if it, if it, not necessarily other people would have what God put in them, but you took that step, like you said, self-work. You first of all, you fired it out there. You asked for help from a source which some people might say, oh, it's, there's no proof, this is woo, this and all the rest of it. Why would you not, after hearing this story? Because something else you said giving people hope. What you've done, it's more than hope. In fact, Harry made a few comments back about, people, for the naysayers out there, Talaya's scientific proof. She's here. She's here telling you this story, telling you the steps she took. She took. She made those steps. She made those choices. Because again, something you touched on earlier about sharing information, what you're doing now, you're giving people who often, like you said, are in that disparity, that despair of the ego, the noise going, cancer, death, chemotherapy, because that's all we know. We're ill-educated. We're so ill-educated. But to be able then to calm that noise, and by sharing information with people and just saying, look, no, I'm your proof. Okay, I'm not guaranteeing, but I'm your proof that there is something here for you now to look at, which you might not have even thought. In fact, from my experience, most people don't, and that's what I love. That's what I love about what you do, and that's what I love about what me and Harry do. It's the sharing. It's sharing information. Like, I've learned so much tonight listening to you, and so has the people that have watched, and so will the people that where we plaster this video absolutely everywhere. Because that's the thing. It's giving these people, when you talk in such a gracious, humble, calm, but it just smacks you in the face with your truths, because these are your truths. No one can refute this. These are your truths. And that's the beauty of the truth. There's no right or wrong in a truth. It's just the truth. You're not trying to prove anyone right or prove anyone wrong. You're just saying, look, this is my truth. So honestly, I just think that's absolutely wonderful. Is there any other? And empowering others. Harry made a good point. And right, the PERL method. Please explain. You created it. What is it?
Absolutely. I'm happy to do that. So the Pearl method is something that I came up with, and it's based on the different skill sets and the different gifts that I feel like I've been blessed with. The first one that is very important on one's cancer journey is being able to be a problem solver. There's problem solving that has to take place from the moment you hear those words, you have cancer. And this is a mind frame and a frame of work that I want people tonight to keep in mind if they get a cancer diagnosis or their loved one. So, P, problem solver. If you don't have one, get you one. If you're not one, come to me. Because you need to be able to take those problems, break them down, not be, paralyzed by them. Because this is about taking action. This is about moving forward. So that's the P. The E, empathetic. I've touched on this a couple times. I'm a very empathetic person. And someone made the comment, you have to be able to see yourself in others. So everyone needs an empathetic person on their team. Someone who's going to sit there and listen. Someone who, if they can't relate, they're willing to learn. See, that's the thing too. You're not going to be able to relate to everything that everyone says. Are you willing to truly hear and take in what they're sharing with you? The R, resourceful. I mentioned this earlier as well, is that you have to be resourceful. I'm not saying just scour the internet for all these, fake remedies and all these different things out there, because there's a lot of that. But knowing where to go to get the things that you need, that's part of being resourceful. Don't go to websites that, are not validated. Go to websites to look for cancer information that end in .edu, .gov, .org. Those are the quality websites that are going to help you if you go off and do this on your own. So that's what the R is, resourceful. Knowing what you need, asking for it, and then going out there and finding it or getting connected with people who can find it for you. And these are not just any resources, these are personalized resources specifically for you. The L is good listener. I have been told a whole lot of times that I'm a very good listener, and that's very critical in what I do. And listening is the language of love, which is something that I want to give, but also receive. So, in order for me to connect with people and help people, I have to really put my listening skills on 100. I have to let them know that they matter, what they say matters. I'm listening to you. I value what you're saying. So, that's the Pearl method. Those are the qualities that I possess within me to help other people, and that's how I welcome the people that I work with, is by letting them know you're going to be taken care of, you're going to be all right together, let's do this thing. And so that's the Pearl method.
That's absolutely, honestly phenomenal. And just to add something to this chat this evening, so Talaya, in fact, yesterday's conversation today, which I will share with you offline, or not off this at some point, because we've not had the chance to catch up, was about the young 15-year-old girl who just so happens that turns out, after being misdiagnosed with something initially called Ewing sarcoma, turned out to be diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, same as you. And it was after working with that girl for about 3 or 4 months, was then when we came on your podcast. Turned out you was a survivor of that, and Talaya very kindly was willing to be put in contact with that family, people. So again, just to show the synchronicities of how important all this stuff is, and people would palm that. I've done it. It's never the same, by the way, Talaya, unless I drop the phone at least once during a live. Harry will tell you that. Harry will always tell you that. People will palm that off as a coincidence, but yes, it is a coincidence, because look at the real meaning of the word coincidence, where it derived from. Perfect fit. Perfect fit. Yes, you've been a perfect fit since you've come into my life and Harry's life, to the people we're working with. I tell people about you all the time. And on that note, please tell everyone where they can find your lovely self.
Sure. Thank you for that, James. I really appreciate it. They can visit my website, which is ontheotherside.life. So ontheotherside.life. They can find me, of course, on Instagram, on the other side 17. They can find me on Facebook, and it's on the other side Cancer Doula. And then also, I recently, beginning of August, started a podcast, and it's called Navigating Cancer Together. And it's where I bring on people from all different walks of life to share their experience with cancer as a cancer patient, survivor, or caregiver. And then I also bring on guests who do work in the integrative and complementary care industries. So that's something else you can check out. You can find that on Anchor or any of your other podcast apps. But if you visit my website, there's links at the bottom to those different social media sites. So I want to thank you so much, James and Harry, for bringing me on, for sharing your platform, for all the love that you give, the great energy that you give, the belief that you have in me, and what I have to share and bring. I want to thank the audience out there for sticking around and listening, and your words of encouragement. I hope that I've touched you in some way. And feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Honestly, Talaya, Harry, obviously he's here. What a wonderful, honestly, what a wonderful lady. God bless you. These are all the messages that are coming through. And obviously this, once we get this posted, we're going to put this everywhere. This for me has just been the most, after, I'll be honest with you, I was soul destroyed yesterday, making the video that I did after what had happened with this young girl, which I'll have a chat with you about. To have you today, it's just completely re-energized me. So honestly, from my soul to yours, I love you. You are incredible. Like, it's people like you that mean just absolutely everything. So thank you, Talaya. Thank you for anyone that's watched this, and we'll be in contact soon. All right. Love
Thank
to
you.
you
Take
and
care,
your lovely
everybody.
family. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Love you.